Hello and welcome to another Geek Dhaba podcast video. Uh, I'm here today with Sohaib, and this is going to be a part two of our comedy series, I guess. We've just made a tier list. You can check it out. Check it out. We have a link here somewhere where we rank all the stand-up comedians. Check that out because without that, you're gonna be kind of lost about this video. And I'm not going to spoil the results of that, but it kind of this video itself is kind of spoilery because the title of this video is Dave Chappelle the GOAT, greatest of all time. Now, so hey, you and I and JD, we love Dave Chappelle. He has been a massive impact on us in our comedy styles and whatnot. So go ahead, Sohaib, give me a little introduction. How did you come across Dave Chappelle?
Okay. Basically, Dave Chappelle, obviously I was a comedy fan from the get-go. Uh, Listening to Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, and all those people, and Robin Williams, just classics. But I had not, been introduced to Chappelle until I was introduced through a friend. And it was, I think we were doing a project in school, and he gave me the DVD to the Chappelle Show season one. And I binged like that show season one in like one night. And from that moment, I just you can say fell in love with his style, and so much so that when then I started searching for his material more. I wanted more of Chappelle. And the first thing that I got hold of was a YouTube video actually of like 8 minutes, the first joke of Killing Me Softly. When he describes how uh, black and white people are separate, treated differently by the police. And I was like, okay, this guy knows how to joke. I mean, obviously, everybody, other people were doing racial comedy as well, but his comedy style was a little different, and he was very young. I had seen him once in, I think it was Blue Rush or movie, something like this with Martin Lawrence. Uh,
I
I think
cannot
that was
recall
his,
right now.
yeah, it was a diamond heist movie basically.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a side supporting character. So when I saw the Chappelle Show DVD, I knew of him, but obviously being a side supporting character, I was not well versed with his stuff. And then I started watching his stuff. I asked people to get me DVDs of his stand-ups. It was Killing Me Softly. There was the one in San Francisco. There's so many of his stand-up specials all across time. And it was in those times, just after he left the Chappelle Show, right? When he disappeared. It was coincidentally that time, because all of these specials were previously done, okay? And they were all available and everything was. Now, once I had gone through everything, burned out every Chappelle show, every, you know, uh, stand-up special he had, small or big performances. Now I was left with nothing, and I was searching his videos, and I searched his interviews. I started watching his interviews. I was like totally obsessed with the guy, a major fanboy moment for me, and even talking about him in this video, and I realized how deep he thinks, because till then I was enjoying his comedy. Once I realized, I started looking into why he left, why he declined such a multi-million-dollar deal to sign with season three of the Chappelle Show, and how they reacted, how the corporate, uh,
Hollywood.
Hollywood,
Yeah.
actually, they reacted to it. They blamed him. They put names on him. They did everything possible. And how he reacted to that, by going to South Africa, he explained some reasons in Oprah and in other shows. And after that, I actually fell in love with him even more. And then I rewatched his stuff because then I realized that he's a great comedian. That's a given. But what his comedy does better than I think anybody else, and what makes him the GOAT, what makes him the greatest of all time, is that his comedy does so much more. I mean, we all have observational comedians. Everybody, I think comedy is observational comedy at best. But um, his comedy has, he is observational comedy added with comedy with containing a message. He has comedy, I think, without barriers. And obviously, one time or another, in his specials, he leaves lessons in his comedy. And if you, look into it, you're obviously, when you're done watching a special, you're laughing about it. Okay. But what's special about Chappelle's comedy is when you're done laughing, you start thinking about it. And then there are moments, then there are moments that you are like, oh, okay, he said that. And he definitely meant that. So, I mean, that's a great message that he's just given it. And there will be many, examples that we'll discuss once, we start talking about it. But that is, I think, why Chappelle is the greatest of all time. I think all the comedians even have said it. I don't think us saying it adds anything to his value whatsoever. But obviously, we have to recognize the greatness.
Yeah.
And that is why we're just doing this video, additional video to add to that, because we just want to show our love to Chappelle. And, anything from a mention to a tag will be very happy for a happy moment for us. Dave Chappelle, we are looking at you from Pakistan and we love you.
Yeah, we do.
I know he's not going to watch it, but I mean,
Hey, who knows? Who knows?
what's wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I
know
was
about it.
I got into Dave Chappelle after his Chappelle show ended. We didn't have that channel over here in Pakistan, so we didn't get that. But after he left, and then YouTube came up, and then for me, all of Chappelle's stuff was on YouTube. So it's like all his sketches, all his stand-up specials. I really enjoyed his style, and people say this now, like they probably won't say it now, but I actually did like his voice back at the time. It had this very distinct, I don't know what it was to it, but it's like it delivered the comedy perfectly. Now his comedy, like, I mean, he's older, much older now, and he smokes apparently. So of course his voice is going to deepen a little bit. Yeah, he still can deliver, but it's like that. I don't know what it was about that voice. It just made it a little more extra. And he was young, so it
Yeah.
was very fresh, it was a good it made him distinct from the other comedians,
Mm.
you know.
Mm.
But then when I started
True.
watching his sketches, I'm like, wow, this is some good stuff, yo. There's a lot of sketches I enjoyed. So tell me, Sahib, what are some of your favorite sketches? If we are gonna go for that first.
Okay, if you're going to use the sketches, in observe, I think we should break it down, category wise. I
Sure.
think if we just talk about observational comedy first,
Mm-hmm.
I think for considering observational comedy, I would rate in his sketches, I would have the racial draft, obviously,
Oh, yeah.
surely.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that sketch alone has so much level into it. Like in every, whenever he's changing from one aspect to another, one race to another, and it's all in fun. We all understand that, but in those jokes, there are messages within. Okay?
Yeah, the hidden truth.
The hidden truth within the Jew that got picked. He never came because he got the news early, and he was partying in Miami because he got the news early, and all those jokes. Those are just saying those jokes out loud are not funny. I would like whenever we name a joke, I would ask the people to pause the video and watch the joke first. Because it's all available
Yeah,
easily.
you can just search for it
So
and you'll get it all. It's really easy to
yeah,
get.
yeah. I think obviously Black Bush. Why
Oh, I
not?
love Black Bush. I
Yeah.
love Black Bush. Like, I believe that the whole, like, His entire Black Bush segment. Good stuff, yo. Oh man, I'm just laughing just thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
It's just so okay. I would recommend you watch Black Bush first. Forget everything else because that's like the best one out there.
Agreed.
We're not
I
gonna
mean,
spoil any of the jokes. Okay, we're just gonna talk about these by titles so that you
mm,
guys can go and enjoy Dave Chappelle in its fullest.
okay. Anything you want to add to this?
Oh, there's one in his Chappelle show, Tupac song.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
I like that. That one that's also really really good. Also,
Okay.
there's one thing that I
Now,
think
again,
that you would like the most because you work in sales and whatnot. You know, you're dealing with customers. Pop copy. I feel that you'd
I
relate to that the most right now, seeing that you're doing this
mean,
from your office, anyways.
it was so on the nose, but now watching it now with those experience of that on the past, it's just like, yes, I think that inside. I'm just not allowed to say it out loud.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, and moment in the life of Little John.
Oh, that's a good
What?
one too as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You know, his stuff, all of these Tupac song. Then again, another one that was like when keeping it real goes wrong. Like it's just such a great idea, because everybody was like in those times, keep it real, man.
Mm.
And just to make a joke out of just these lines, it's just such a Chappelle thing to do.
He
Um,
is really good with opportunity. He sees an opportunity and he translates it really nicely in his sketches, in his stand-up special. He has that gift, you know, where he'll take something that we can relate to and he'll turn it into something funny that we can also relate to. It's that's pretty impressive on his part.
yeah. And even, just not just sketches, if you go through his comedy specials, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Killing Him Softly, if we are just, strictly talking about the observational comedy, right? Right now we have the Sesame Street, okay, the Sesame Street joke, comparing Sesame Street to what he saw as a child to what he saw as an adult.
Yeah.
Okay. That was like such, and watching that joke now versus watching that joke uh, before,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, even when time changes, the jokes still remain fresh for Chappelle.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, and obviously the racial jokes with the ghetto joke, the
Mm-hmm.
police being white
Yeah.
versus black that I already mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
All of these jokes are, I think, top notch, pretty much for
Yeah.
me. I can watch them repeatedly again and again. I pretty much, I think, can say them by heart.
Oh,
Like
nice.
some of them,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially Killing Him Softly, because now we have like 3 to 4 specials now, but before these specials came out, when he returned, there was a huge long gap, and
Mm.
I had only Killing Him Softly and For What It's Worth in San Francisco, and I just had them on repeat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember those.
Speaking of specials, there's another special dropping, should be today, I believe, on Netflix. Yeah.
Funny thing enough, already seen it. Uh,
Oh, no spoilers. No
Loved it.
spoilers, bro.
Yeah, won't spoil it. Won't spoil it anyhow. But again, obviously, I'm a fan of Chappelle, so I will be biased.
Hmm.
It's a great show. It's a great show. So yeah. But yeah, everybody just go and watch it. It's called The Closer, and it's on Netflix, and
Yep.
enjoy it.
Enjoy.
Just enjoy it. Okay, so moving on, I think the next aspect of Dave Chappelle's comedy that I really want to talk about is the message within his.
Mm.
Some a little we'll tone down the effect of this video from funny to serious, but uh, you know, jokes like how old is 15 really? The way he starts from the R. Kelly joke to bringing out about the difference how 15-year-olds are treated in different races, and ending again with that R. Kelly joke. It's such a journey, that joke, that once you realize, once you're done laughing, you start thinking about it. And how different racially and they are treated, they have been treated, and how through his comedy he's raising such a great voice for the people who are fighting this war against injustice and racial profiling. Um, Again, there are so many more. There's the joke from Michael Jackson, and there's uh, even that one joke in Sticks and Stones.
Hmm.
I won't obviously use the words, but the difference in using the F word for the homosexuals and the N word for the
Blacks.
blacks. Um, he discusses how he is allowed to say the N word, but he isn't allowed to say the F word with the uh, producers of the channel. And they tell him because he's not homosexual, so he's not allowed to use the F word.
Hmm.
But and he's fine with it. Then he's turned around and he just say, "I'm not the N word either." And that's just
It
while
makes you
listening
think.
to it,
Mm.
yeah, it makes you think that they have made it so much so equal to that, with the blacks, that right now we're just it comes when you hear the word sadly, images obviously come in your head is, and that's the word association that they have done. And this is exactly what I think Chappelle talked about in this joke, that he's not going to let him be defined by this N word. That's, I think that's a great thing. Any that come to your mind?
No, but yeah, I was looking at this special of his for what it's worth, and this was in 2004. And recently, with R. Kelly back in the news, it's like I'm not going to say that he saw it coming, but he saw it coming. He knew back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely knew.
Even he said in the latest special six and so on, like, he said that if I'm a betting man, he probably did it. I mean, when he was talking about Michael Jackson, so he was like he was defending Michael Jackson, but when it came to R. Kelly, he said, "If I'm a betting man,"
Mm,
he probably said that shit. So
yeah.
yeah. So and all this thing, Michael Jackson one, even the Michael Jackson one, if you're talking about it, talked about it in what it's worth, and he talked about it in Six and Stones. These are very similar discussions both ways. But if you think about the time zone that he has talked about it in 2004 and now in 2020, there's a 16-year gap. Okay. And in these 16 years, they have made so many of these documentaries and cases, but nothing has yet to be proven. And, surely Michael Jackson was vilified for what he did. And if he did it, surely he should be held accountable. But the thing is, for 16 years, you haven't been able to prove it.
Yeah. And
And
plus,
that's,
with
yeah,
Michael
sure.
gone now, we no longer have those active court cases and everything that's going on. It's just basically
Yeah.
documentaries that we're seeing nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go on.
And again, yeah. And that's the thing. Like his messages, if you listen to all his comedy from start to end, it's always, progressing. And according to the time, according to the way, he just keeps going on about it. So, and on anything else you want to add to the message, Andrew?
Nothing from my end. We could move on to the next category. What is your next category?
I think the next category would be that his comedy is without barriers. Uh, he does not only talk about, obviously, the problems in white community, the white supremacy and all that. He talks about things within the community, within
Mm,
his own community as well. He talks about, the way he has brought out, you know, he says jokes about himself as well, his own community as well, just to humanize them as well. If you talk about, I don't know if I should say it, but you know, it's all over the N family skit. It's hilarious as hell. You know, anytime you watch it, you can laugh your head off. Okay. But still, when you think about it, especially that final scene when, you know, they're in the restaurant,
It makes you
it
think.
just breaks you. It
Yeah,
makes you.
it makes you think. And he has, like, even today, the racial inequality in America. Well, obviously, we've never experienced that ourselves, being over here on the eastern side of the world, but you know, we have a pretty clear view of what's happening through Dave Chappelle's comedy. He explains it
But
perfectly.
but
Like,
you know, something that I want, just you know, I just want to add something there.
yeah,
Obviously, you know, we haven't faced, you haven't seen the, you know, racial profiling that the blacks have faced over the years. But being, you know, I'll say it out loud. I have no fear about it. Being a Shia, I have, you know, faced profiling, sectarian profiling, you can call it, in Pakistan. Okay. Uh, there have been, you know, name calling and all that stuff. It's a part and parcel of being a Shia in Pakistan. Okay. Your question about your faith, your question about everything, you are the one who has to answer, not everybody else. And watching, you know, the N family skit, okay, mm, it got me thinking, like, if the same skit could be made about a Shia, you know, the same scenario, but for the Shias. Like, if a non-Shia family had the name Shia, had a Shia name, okay, so how would they be, you know, facing the same stuff? And it would be pretty much the same. I mean, obviously, I'm not comparing.
yeah,
I'm not comparing everybody's. People have faced, you know, problems
worse,
and
worse, and
worse,
so,
way worse, way worse. Obviously, I'm not comparing anything. I'm just saying that it resonates.
yeah,
It goes. The thing about comedy without barriers is that it resonated within me. It was just not about, you know, it was about profiling every way. He just took that example, and when you think about it, it's like it's about racial profiling that everybody faces, and everybody who has faced some sort of profiling can relate to it at their level. That's my point. I'm not comparing
yeah,
anybody's. Yeah, uh, that's my point. Like, without his barriers, his comedy that does not have barriers. When you think about it, you know, again, another joke that he had in Killing Him Softly, racism saved my life. You know, when black, they don't take black hostages.
yep.
Terrorists don't take black hostages,
That's
right?
a spoiler. You can check out that joke, you know, on YouTube. We won't spoil it for you,
Sure.
but there
Yeah,
is one
sure.
thing
I
that I
mean, in
will
Killing Him
spoil for
Softly,
you,
but
though.
yeah.
That thumbs up. It's
but,
a very distinct thumbs up. He does, you know.
yeah,
Keep an eye
yeah.
out.
But you know, Killing Him Softly is like ages ago,
Yeah.
so we can pretty much talk about it. But still, you know, again, the barrier thing that I have, you know, because his comedy resonated within me. That is why I think I liked it more. What do you? What do you?
No, but yeah, it makes sense, you know. And when, you know, if we're going to talk about him without barriers, the I am slightly going to ruin this by calling him Juicy Smouye. That incident, he went all out. He talked about it, you know, and he spilled the dirty secrets. I mean, that's what it is. And check
Like,
out that joke, by the way. You'll everyone will love it.
please,
Yep.
please do, because when he says it, it's like 1,000 times more funny.
Yeah, definitely. You know.
And you know, like, even in that joke, he was not hiding behind his color.
Yeah.
He was exposing it. Like,
Exactly.
he was exposing everyone.
Exactly.
Okay, and what I've noticed that since he's returned,
Mhm.
he's way more, lethal and exposing stuff.
And he's more open.
He's way, yeah, he's
He's
way
had
more
time to
open.
think. He's
Yeah.
back with a vengeance,
Mm,
and
yes.
he is not afraid to, go full out. He's not holding back anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
back in the day, he had to, because that's how it was.
Mm.
But
And
yeah.
and for a good segue into the final, I think what we consider it. Uh, all these that I'm going to name, I think you will name one or two as well. But overall, the equanimity, bird
Hmm.
revelation, sticks and stones, unforgiven, redemption song, 846. Uh, I think deep in the heart of Texas and Age of Spain. These are all the stand-ups or small or large that he has released since his return. And in all of this, almost in all of these, he has a story at the very end. Okay, something that goes without saying. Obviously, we have said it too many times that he leaves a message. That's given. But in that message, there's a lesson as well for now, for this time. Okay. Uh, if we talk about the Emmett Till story,
Hmm.
he talks about, okay, the kid that got killed because the story is known to everyone, and how he relates it to now. Uh, the story about the pimp that he told in Bird Revelation, which he connected with his own disappearance, which was very, I think, if anything that you need to see, you need to just listen to that story. The last, I think, 10 to 15 minutes of Bird Revelation. Just go and listen to that story that he tells about the pimp and compare it to your situations, compare it to yourself. How is anyone trying to hold you back by giving you something that you wanted, a temporary advantage, but holding your own, self-worth, your potential back? And this is something that I really love from that film story. I mean, it's a must listen for everyone who's watching this video.
Mm.
Just go and listen to. I mean, if you want, obviously, if you will listen to the entire thing, it's amazing. Okay, but if nothing else, just listen to the last 10 to 15 minutes. I think of that Bird Revelation. It's called Bird Revelation because he wanted to reveal why he left, and he does it with a story. He doesn't explain how it's connected, but you get it
Mm.
at the end of it. Okay. Anything that you want to?
I'd like to add that, we should, first of all, we should start wrapping this up. Second of all, Dave Chappelle not only has made an impact on viewers like us, I'm gonna say pseudo comedians, we're funny people, we keep things funny. Uh, but at the end of the day, there are other professional comedians out there who have, I'm not gonna say copied, but have taken inspiration from his stuff, especially with his sketches. I'm not calling them out or anything, but I feel that Key and Peele, comedian duo, have there's an echo of Dave Chappelle's sketches, especially the ones with the messages, the deeper stuff that make you think in their Key and Peele's sketches. Um, that was a fantastic show when it came out somewhere in 2012, I believe. And yeah, it made sense. Like you can see that there is some inspiration. There's an echo of the Dave Chappelle sketches, especially the ones with meanings. Um, and yeah, other
Well, to be
comedians
fair,
out.
they were the ones picked to continue Chappelle Show.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at them, they're spiritual and physical successors. I guess I don't know if that's the word I should be using, but yeah, definitely. And it resonates over there. Um, so hey, just give me your closing thoughts. Let's tell me why he is the GOAT again, once more.
And just because his comedy is way more than. when you're done laughing, you start thinking, and the cycle never stops.
Exactly.
A good comedian makes you laugh, but the greatest makes you think after you laugh. So that's Chappelle.
Yeah. All right. I guess this is it. Thank you for watching. I hope you go and watch the rest of Chappelle's stuff. If this is the first time, then you're in for a ride, because Chappelle is the GOAT. There's no other way to say it. It's just it. That's it. And we will be talking about other stuff in this is part 2 of, let's say, part 3 of our comedy series. We're going to be talking about sketches in our next video. Be sure to check that out. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out the tier list, of our stand-up comedians. Thank you all for watching, and good night. See you.